Johnny as a friend is, he doesn't go into professional things or into friendships halfway. He's a loyal person. He's friends for life. He's that kind of dude. He's not just going to leave you high and dry. And he's just a really good guy. He's funny. He's a lot of fun to be around. I always looked at him as my little brother. He has his annoying drummer traits where he'd sit there and bring drumsticks and just randomly drum on you or grab you by the head because it was funny. But he's a lot of fun.
So I only had Mr. Trujillo for 1 year, but during that whole year, I think I really improved as a musician. I like how he really challenged our class and like the individuals in our class to get better at our instruments and also work together as a band, because I felt like we were really always united in his class. Like, even though it was hard, even though some of the music he gave us was really difficult, we were able to like work together as a team, and we sounded really great at all the concerts, and it was a lot of fun.
Working with him was great, and it was easy because we both, I think, had similar teaching styles and ideas about teaching, and kind of had the idea that everything needs to be taught. You shouldn't make assumptions about things. He was always really prepared, and the kids are always really into his classes. I think he did a good job of explaining the importance of music and why they should be in band in the first place. And even the piano classes that he taught, he made everyone realize, I think, that it was something different they could do that's maybe not a core class, but that it had some kind of importance. And I think that's why, in part, that the kids had fun with it, and playing an instrument is always fun. But I think part of it also was because he kind of instilled in them why it should be important to them. We worked well together too. And now that he's at the middle school, he feeds our programs up here because he teaches band and orchestra. So in that regard, he's also great to work with because he works with me a lot, asking questions, and we go over how to repair things together. And it's a good collaborative working relationship. So I like working with him. He's awesome.
Mr. Trujillo is one of my favorite teachers. I had him for concert band and piano. He was always a nice and funny guy. I remember when he actually moved over to East Story Middle School, I thought I was like never going to see him again. But one day I had missed my bus and I was waiting for my ride, and then I realized I had left my folder inside. So I went inside to go get it, and there he was, like in the main office, and it was kind of like seeing like an old friend that you haven't seen in like a long time. And he was just in there telling jokes, and I helped him move some of the instruments. But overall, he was just like always so optimistic. Like on Mondays, he would always come into class energized in first period while everyone else was like practically dead. He would like be like, Mondays are my favorite day of the week because it was like a fresh start. So overall, it was like really positive, and it made me look on like the brighter side of things. So I truly think he's like quite inspiring. I actually went down to the middle school and I spoke with some of the kids, and they all told me how he inspires them.
He inspires me because he plays a lot of instruments while balancing his daily life, which is pretty cool. And I do other things and play this, so it shows that if I wanted to keep on playing this, I could, because of how he mixes it up with his lifestyle.
Like, he's always like making us like try new things, like helping us become better. Like, he makes sure like every like, stuff we make mistakes on, he helps us work through it.
Something wrong, he like encourages you back up. Like, I have like a lot of breakdowns, and I told him about it, and he like encourages me to keep going.
He learned the violin over the summer this year, and he got really good. So I really
He tells me to keep going, and when I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore, he says, you should, because you're good at it.
He can teach every person that plays different instruments, so he has to think of everything. Like, each individual person has to play something else, so when he can just say, do this, do that, you can do this, then it's really inspirational.
Overall, I would say that I truly did enjoy the time that I had in his classes, and I'm glad that I got to have him as a teacher.
So I've known Johnny since college. We were in music theory class together, and we were in the same department. You know, we were in the same music building. He was always just a fun guy. We weren't ever really close in school because I was a vocalist and he was a percussionist, and when you're in college, that kind of thing lends towards, you're always practicing your instrument and honing your instrument, so there wasn't a lot of time to cross over. But when I started working here, I got really excited. I used to follow drum corps all the time, and I know that Johnny used to march with the cadets. I was really excited to see how that kind of performance lended to how he taught. So Mr. Trujillo, as a professional, is very methodical. He's very, very perfectionistic. And I think that what I like most about him in that professional aspect is that he sets the bar really, really high for his students. So when he was up here at the high school, he was trying to push these kids to an upper high school collegiate level. Whether they thought they could get there or not was beside the point. It was just, here's the music you're going to play. I'm going to show you how to get there. I'm going to give you those tools. And he always pushed the kids to that higher level of performance. Then he went down to East Norton, and this past winter I watched the concert on the YouTube channel, and it just blew my mind to see all of these little kids, not the high school kids that he was pushing towards that professionalism, but all these little tiny kids holding their instruments in perfect rest position. Nobody moved, nobody blinked. He would pick his arms up and all the kids moved at the same time. It doesn't surprise me that he brought that level of expertise to the middle school, but it's a beautiful thing to watch, to see that level of professionalism. He's a lot of fun to be around, and he's a really, really genuinely nice guy. He cares about the people that are around him, and he wants them to be happy, and he wants them to do well professionally and in their, home lives. So he's just really a great guy. And I'm proud to have him as a colleague, and I'm proud to call him my friend.
So Mr. Trujillo was one of the best music teachers I've probably ever had in my life. He pushed us hard, but it made us better musicians. I was not a good flute player at the beginning of my freshman year, but he kept on pushing us and pushing me, and at the end of the year, he said some nice things about me and how I'm going to be like a good flute player in the future, which really helped my confidence and made me a better flute player. And I still think about the stuff that he would say to me now, even though he's not my band teacher or band director. But he was really helpful back when I was a freshman and helped me be one of the flute players I'm today. One of the best or funniest memories I had with Mr. Trujillo was when after the spring concert and before graduation, everything like that, he took my class out to play football in the courtyard, near the gym doors, and he was the quarterback for both teams, and I caught the one ball, and he was really excited. I was excited. It was a good time, and I had a lot of fun. He was a funny guy. So the concerts were exciting. I loved the music. It was challenging and it sounded great, even though I had to try really hard and practice a lot to try and get the notes down and learn my rhythms. When it all came together, it sounded really great, and he was really passionate about the music and what we played, and he wanted it perfect, which made us sound better because we wanted to help him and impress him, make sure he looked good and we sounded good. And the songs were either really fast-paced, which was really exciting, or slow, which really is really calming and pretty. And the way he directed, he was just so passionate about everything. He wanted everything perfect, down to the 16th note. He wanted you to hear everything, and it was really nice, and he made both concerts sound good, and I still watch them to this day, even though they were 3 years ago.
Hi, my name is Nyasia Perry, and today I'm here with the band and orchestra director of East Norton, Mr. Trujillo. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you for having me.
So, tell me about yourself.
Like you said, I'm the band and orchestra director at East Norton Middle School in Norristown. been doing this is my 3rd year there, and yeah, trying to learn about teaching middle school and doing a lot of different things there for the school, and it's been going really well. And so I mean, that's what I do. I live in Phoenixville, and I teach music pretty much full time on the weekends, in the summer, and then at school.
And how many years have you been working in the district?
Overall, when I first started here, I was, I think 2020. I worked for the old band director, high school band director, for his marching band and indoor drum line. And I started writing music for his groups, and I taught the percussion in his groups. And then when he was going to move on, I applied for his job, and I got the job, and then I've been here ever since. So I guess total, maybe if you count those years I wasn't an official teacher during the school day, maybe it's been like 15 years, something like that. Yeah.
It's 3.
Yeah.
And what inspired you to become like a teacher?
I got inspired to be a teacher. It was, I think, this summer of my junior year of high school, because I did this independent music group that wasn't part of my school. And so I went away in the summer, and I met a bunch of people from different schools, and a lot of them knew a lot more than me, and that kind of started to get me, questioning, like, well, why don't I know these things? I'm in band at school, and so when I came back from that, it was my senior year, and I learned all these different things. So I started to teach the kids that I went to school with, my peers, and the younger kids, the freshmen and sophomore and all that, and I had a really good time doing it, and it was really rewarding to kind of pass on the things that I learned. And so, doing all that, I thought, well, maybe I can make a career out of this, maybe I'll follow this path. And that wasn't my original plan. I wanted to be an engineer or an architect up until then. And I've always been in band, but I wasn't all that serious about it until then. And so then I kind of changed my path, and that's what it's been ever since.
That's good. Would you say you also had teachers who inspired you too?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of great teachers. I mean, my music teachers in high school were very, very good. I mean, our program as a whole wasn't all that great or well-rounded. There's some problems but the teachers were very good, and they were good to me. And then I had a lot of teachers that were inspiring to me, like in high school, that had nothing to do with music. Coming to mind right now, my physics teacher in high school was awesome, and he inspired me to take physics my junior year, and then my AP physics. I was really into that, and it was mainly because of him, because he made it so cool. So that comes to mind. And then in the other things I did outside of school for music, I had some really, really tough instructors that were very passionate about what they did, and that meant a lot to me and taught me a lot about leadership and things like that. So.
And what college did you go to? What colleges? I went
to Westchester for my undergrad. It's a really, I guess, I don't want to say, it's a big school for music education, especially music education. There's schools that are more geared towards music performance, but Westchester's been known for that for a very long time. And it was out of state for me, which I grew up in New Jersey, and where I lived wasn't all that great. So, it was nice for me to get out and go to a different place, and I thought it was great for that. Just meet new people and be in a different state, and so that was good. And Westchester was very good to me. I had very good professors there, and so yeah. And then that I got my teaching degree from there, and after that started teaching. And when you become a teacher, you have to get continued education. So you can just get a bunch of credits, but most teachers get their master's degree. So I did that at Cabrini for just education. It wasn't for music, it was just for general education.
That's good.
Yeah.
And how many like students do you teach like a day?
At East Norton Middle School right now, between band and orchestra, it's close to 200, about 200. You know, third marking period's coming up right now. We're always adding people to the roster, kids that maybe were in band or orchestra and then stopped and want to come back in, or some kids that are just talented and kind of went under the radar and, you know, had to have a good opportunity to really flourish in music. So we're always adding to it. So I think we'll probably be around 210 starting the third marking period. So yeah, it's about 100 kids in each ensemble. And the chorus, which I don't teach the chorus, but they have about 100 kids in their group as well. So, I mean, I think the school's population's like 900 something. So it's almost a third of the school involved in the music programs. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think we can do even better than that, you know, in a couple more years with some momentum.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how do you specifically create like a lesson plan for them?
We pretty much, I mean, because each group is very, very different. So there's 5th grade band, 5th grade orchestra, 6th grade band, 6th grade orchestra, 7th grade band, 7th orchestra, and 8th, obviously. So, and each group is different with their skill levels, their just natural ability levels, the combination of the kids in the group. They're all very, very different. So we pretty much use a method book, just instrumental method books that the school district, that all the music teachers in the school district agreed upon using to teach all the fundamental skills and the music literacy and then all the technical skills on their instruments. So we have these books, and that kind of walks the kids through the basics, everything they need to know to kind of continue on a path from beginner to intermediate to advanced. So the 5th graders come in there, and for band they've already done a year. For orchestra, most have done 2 years. So they have already started on that book, and then we just continue with that. We use like a tracking sheet, so we just keep track of where they are in the book. And so because it's class situations, we move through as a class, and we do that. And so this past year we've been, you know, we had the method book stuff, and there's stuff that you do for the concerts. But the concerts, like, that doesn't dictate what we do in the classroom. The concerts are like secondary. That's just, we just kind of, that's a result of the work we do from a technical standpoint. So we don't go in class and just teach concert music. That's not what we're doing. And so because we're building this program, right now our concerts have been things right from the book, from the method book. As the program develops and becomes more advanced, then we can branch out and do some other literature. But right now we're just focusing on that so we can build a really, really good foundation of fundamental skills for the kids. So it's going to be really good for them, especially as they transition through all the middle school grades. And then when they come to high school, they should be able to function without having to be spoon-fed everything. Yeah. They should be able to look at the music and decipher it and read it, and then move on to more advanced things.
That's great that you're giving them that practice to move up. And why are skills like so important for you?
Skills like the fundamentals and things? Well, to me, kind of going off of what I was just talking about, I tell the kids it's like that I'm trying to liberate them, like musically, because I remember what it's like to be able to get a sheet of music and be in like band or something and not know what to do with it unless someone told me or taught me one-on-one what to do with it. So we go through all this process, and it's tedious sometimes, but you know, we go through this process so that they no longer need me or a teacher. Like they should, by the end of 8th grade, they should be able to receive a piece of music, just get handed to them, and they can do it on their own without me. So that's kind of how I frame it to him. It's like, if you go through this process, you'll be able to do it by yourself. So that means not only in school, but outside of school. If they want to do something on their own, well, fine. If you want to learn a new instrument, well, now you know how to learn an instrument because you got taught how to learn an instrument. Or if you want to learn this song just for fun because you know it and you want to play it, well, you know how to get a piece of music and do it on your own without having to have a teacher there. And that's good for them personally, but it's also good for the program as a whole, and also good for the high school because, like I said, they'll be able to take those skills and come here and then just keep going with it and through high school and then into adulthood and keep playing. So, having a foundation is super important. And at the middle school ages, at those young ages, it's easy. When you get older, you have to break habits, and that's really hard. But these little guys, they learn so fast. So if you build that stuff very, very strong right away, they'll never lose it. It'll be easy for them later. So that's why.
And what instruments do you play?
Well, I function, I operate all of them a little bit. I kind of I like everything for strings and winds and percussion. I mean, that's what you learn when you go to school to teach music. You have to learn, you take a semester every instrument, 1 semester. So you don't learn that much. You learn the fundamentals, the basics, you know how to teach it to a beginner. So I mean, I can operate all of them. But my major instrument, I would say I'm a professional at, would be percussion, because that's what I studied in school. And that's kind of what college is like. Like, you have a major instrument for music ed. You have a major instrument, and that's what you focus on. And that's where you learn how to be a professional at one thing, how to be really, really good and excel at one thing. And then you take all those other classes to learn the basics, but you still have that other piece where you know what it takes to be great at something. So then you're able to take that information and also what you know from your professional instrument and apply and help people go on that path. So, yeah.
That's good. Which one do you think is like the hardest instrument for you personally?
There's a bunch of them. There's a lot of instruments out there.
Yeah.
So they all have their challenges. I mean, I'm personally not so great at flute. Flute takes a lot of air, breath control. That's really difficult for me. And the string instruments are new to me. I mean, I did them in college, but the past 10 years I was just a band director. Well, whatever. When I was at the high school, I was just a band director. So now at the middle school, I teach strings. And I hadn't touched a string instrument in a really, really long time, since college. And even then, it was just very basic. So I've had to, kind of pick up those instruments and start to relearn some things. But it's been a lot of fun. So, but as far as playing, that's a definite challenge for me. But all instruments are equally challenging in their own way at some point.
Yeah.
It's just different for everything. So, yeah.
And do you do anything music related, like outside of school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now, the only thing I do outside of school, I used to teach private lessons, but I kind of stopped doing that for a little bit. But outside of school, I'm involved in drum and bugle corps, and I teach the percussion section for the Reading Buccaneers Drum and Bugle Corps. I write the music for them, for the percussion. So that's pretty much a 10-month season. There's only 2 months that are off. So during the school year, it's weekends that we're there, or just kind of Fridays, and then it becomes Friday, Saturday, then it becomes Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the summertime. And we travel around, compete, and that's like college-age kids and adults. So yeah, that takes up a lot of my time, especially writing the music and designing the show with the other guys that do it. So that's kind of a hobby and a job.
Yeah. And do you have anything set for like the future?
Musically?
Yeah. In person.
Not particularly. I'm pretty happy with how things are going right now. I'd like to continue to do the drum corps stuff that I do outside of school, and then I just want to focus on East Norton's music program, and because it's taken such big leaps, and it just has so many ways to grow that aren't really that hard. So I'm really excited to kind of see what we can do with that. And there's a lot of support there for it. The administration at that school is very supportive of what we do. The parents have been great. The kids have been great. So there's so much potential that it's exciting, to do something with that. And like I said, all that means for the high school is positive things for the high school, because that's how the program works. The kids move up through it, and when they come up here, they're going to be even more prepared. So that's what I'm excited for right now, musically.
That's good. And I think that's all the questions I have today.
All right.
So, that's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.